Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the moon conjunct the south node in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects of a natal chart. They're a little bit concise, and some people may have referred to them as snappy. So what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is, well, if you have the moon conjunct the south node in the natal chart, there may be an intense need, which is the moon, to do, what you feel, comfortable with, which is the south node. It's interesting because the moon and the south node are similar in one respect in terms of that comfort zone. The moon, can be what we feel close to home with, where we feel comfortable in, and doing things that we're comfortable doing. The south node is the comfort zone. It's our where we feel, where we're just naturally, want to do, certain things where we feel that certain comfort in doing. So, it could be if you have the conjunction in Gemini, it could be simply, that intense need to do what you feel comfortable with in terms of communication, assimilating, disseminating information, doing things that require, manual dexterity, which can include auto or refrigeration mechanics. If the conjunction, say, is an Aquarius, it could be where you might feel exceptionally comfortable, doing things, that are connected with astrology, astronomy, computers, humanitarianism, meteorology, aviation. There may be an exceptional need to do those things in which you feel very comfortable with. Now, also to the past, which is the south node, and those emotional needs, which is the moon, may be strongly integrated. The past, it could be people that are prominent in your past can have a very strong, impact on your emotional needs, or whether it could be some experiences that were connected, with the past, may be very strongly, tied in, with what you want in terms of your emotional needs. If the moon is in Capricorn, say, well, the emotional needs may be tied in with business, attaining career ambitions, having structure and discipline. So there may have been somebody or something from the past, as an example, that may have had certain inspiration, in those things, or something that you learned, from the past that might be tied in to what you believe, what you need now, emotional, what that need actually is. And um, and the thing is too, and also people prominent in the past may play a strong role in those emotional needs. Now, the thing about this is there may be a need to get away from, which is the south node, the negative, characteristics of the unconscious side, which is the moon. Now, this may be true, regardless of aspects in the natal chart, but it may be more emphasized in this example, in this aspect, more so than many others, because you have the south node is what one is getting away from, and the moon is that unconscious side, which has, positive and negative characteristics. If the moon is in Taurus, as an example, those negative characteristics may be tied into stubbornness, obstinacy. They're not willing, to waver, from, a certain point of being, in one's life. It could be, being overly avaricious or greedy, being persistent with the wrong things, as some examples. Now, also, too, the people that were prominent in your past, which is the south node, could be those that you're also very close to home with, which is the moon. Now, excuse me, now the thing is, let's say if the moon is in the zodiac sign Cancer, as an example, those people that you're close to home with, may have a Cancer sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply embody the traits of that sign. It could be people that are caring, nurturing, dedicated, devoted, sympathetic, introverted, protective. It could be also those that are overly sensitive, moody, and temperamental, as well. as some examples. Now, another thing about the moon conjunct the south node in terms of how it may manifest in a natal chart, it could be that the mother and family, which is the moon, may be very strongly, involved in what you're naturally proficient in, which is the south node. If the south node is in Virgo, as an example, those things you may naturally be, proficient in could be tied in with analysis, compartmentalizing, organizing, cleaning, health and fitness, sanitation. It could be doing something with analytics or statistics. I have the south node in my fifth house, so it's like the things that I may naturally be proficient in can be connected, with analytical, intellectual amusement and enjoyment. But it could also be extrapolating sports data, because understand that Virgo is connected with data, statistics, and you have, the fifth house is associated with sports, So, but anyway, another way, the moon conjunct the south node may be expressed in a natal chart is that the public, which is the moon, may play an integral role in that first half, which is the south node of life. Now, the thing about it is, if you have, the south node in Libra, that first half, of life before you start, emphasizing the north node more, may be one in which you have, show a lot of cooperation, being fair, equitable, being able to negotiate, focusing on intellectual sociability, having balance, and refinement, in general in your life. It could be expressing some kind of artistic, abilities of some kind, as an example. Now, another thing about this aspect is that you may feel at home, so to speak, with, which is the moon, with those overdeveloped and redundant qualities connected with the south node position in your natal chart. Now, again, going to my, south node in Virgo as an example, those overdeveloped, redundant qualities, maybe, tied in with even over analyzing things to a point where they don't need to be analyzed. It's like seeing the Dwad within the Dwad in astrology, as an example. It could be that if you have the south node in Libra, it could be where, that person is trying to be so fair, where they're trying to give the exact amount of water to one family member, and then that same exact amount to the other. It's where the balancing, thing, the fairness can be a little bit overdeveloped, as another example. Now, also too, the home life, which is the moon, may have a detrimental, which is a south node effect, on the person. If the moon is in Pisces, as an example, that home life maybe one that may be chaotic or tumultuous, or a lot of chaos and confusion. Maybe there's something that's disheveled in matters with the home life that might have more of a negative impact on the person, whether it's the condition of the house itself or what have you. Now, another thing too about the moon conjunct the south node in a natal chart is that you may be very, emotionally, which is the moon, vested in activities that are connected with those natural built-in abilities of the south node position. Now, if the south node is in Scorpio, as an example, those built-in abilities may be tied in, going beyond the surface and subterfuge, superficiality, digging deep research, doing things associated with shared resources. It could be dealing with crisis or making some major change or transformation, maybe something connected with the occult, which includes astrology, as some examples. And also too, with this aspect, there may be more of a need, a very intense need, which is the moon, to leave behind, which is the south node, the memories, which is the moon too, that may have a negative effect on you. If the moon is in Gemini, say, those memories may be tied in, maybe with people, being, doing things that were mischievous to you. It might have been tied in with people trying to mimic you, or or plagiarizing your work. As some examples, just something with general mimicry, in terms of making fun the person, or maybe it was something with short journeys even, or just your general day-to-day communications, and there was something very negative about that you need to leave behind. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.